Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Dialogue with the Youth. So on Gunjur Online TV, you are with your presenter, Mr. Ebrima Janneh. Today is another Wednesday, 18th of November 2020. The time in UK in Leeds is almost 7 o'clock. The time in the Gambia will be about 6 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and Eastern time in America, the time will be about 2 o'clock or 2 o'clock. Today, our topics to discuss is youth, managing finance, and challenges in the Gambia. Youth, managing finance, and challenges in the Gambia. And this is a very hot topic, and it needs a lot of understanding and teaching and sharing ideas so that, contemporarily the youth in the Gambia can understand how to go around with their finances and enable them vital life-saving, opportunities in terms of employment. To discuss this fantastic mouth-watering topic, I am with one of the Gambians' finest. I mean it, one of the Gambians' finest in economics, in finance, Mr. Nuha Ceesay. Nuha is a unique resume, I will tell you, diverse, dynamic, and a lot of achievements in terms of education and in terms of professional education. Also in terms of his achievement, working cross-sectionally from different departments from the Gambia, to United Kingdom. In fact, Noah was my batchmate in Muslim high school. He is a high flyer even that time. He's among the top students in the commerce section and in the whole school, for that being the case. So I know him not today, for a long time. Nuha Bags, he is currently in his third year in PhD in accounting and finance. And he already have MSc in merit in accounting. He is a ACCA holder and is a member of AAT also. He works from range of different backgrounds, from Gambia Cooperative Union to CCF to Gambia Civil Aviation in UK, from Hedgebos, Halifax to Lloyd, Morrison, and London North Eastern Railway. And also, that's why I say somebody with unique background. He did a military service in the UK also, a veteran gunner in Her Majesty's Royal Artillery. Also, he's involved in different community services. He is the Assistant Secretary of Queenella, association in the United Kingdom or all over the world, and also he is the Assistant Treasurer, to Gambia Welfare Society in Leeds, one of the biggest Gambian charities in the United Kingdom. And please join me, Mr. Ceesay, I will say a doctor in waiting, Dr. Ceesay. Welcome to Dialogue with the Soul. Welcome, Mr. Ceesay.
Thank you. Thanks, Ebrima. What can I say? A lot of accolades there. I'm not sure if I should take all that credit, but thanks for the brilliant welcome. And hello and good evening to viewers and listeners.
Assalamu alaikum, badi ngolim, badi bismillah, lan soto, kafomi Dialogue with the Youth. So, bifanang alnal jatilo alnal badima, alnal doma, alnal dimma, Ebrima Janneh, and bimu araboleti tilikaro tilitanding worawula or tilitanding say in November karo ntolla jang Leeds abe United Kingdom le olam Angleterre time obe nyami wala mu tala worawula tambita just domanding atambita talan say na jangalon Gambia time of dami wala mu talents woro tambita minute sayla America fanan sal fana wato wala kono je fanan 2 o'clock ma fala 8 minutes past 2 comparatively. So bimbe min kachala na topico bimbe min kachala funding kelu ani be la kodole manage la nyandile ani min ye kodo min so min be bulo kono nyanta londa ko min be bulo kono anim funding keli ye mun kolea kulle soto pour ka ke bulo la julole kan ka kodo soto no pour ka business o start in the Gambia anin dunia karo mu be bari nimbimbe nyin topico discourse la womum fawola na karambu kabrin dinding high school ndolle be karambu killing don't have a science student all that mu commerce student woti wala mu Nuha sa Ceesay Nuha ay karamo fanna jamale wa abay kami fe karam konto to wala mun na yimbul makala na fankoli nin na kudoli ko manage nyami anin kanyo accountable I wo karamol leke ka for me accounting and finance I karan nyaton ka photo to anata say ala MSc finance to in accounting I ACCA fana wa I wo fana bang AAT fana I wo wala do ko kida Gambia dula jamal to Gambia Cooperative Union CCF Gambia Civil Aviation UK fana kabo bank wali to Halifax Jang bank wala to mu woti ani Lloyds fana mu banki do fana toti Morrison fana mu retail support min yanko ka bitiku jama be bulu Angleterre kono ay do ko ke woli fana to ani London na train station o train la company do lo fana may do ko ke wota military do service fana ke jam I wo fana ke jam sojaria I experience to wo fana to jam mari amanda wo fanan na community so la kuina la ba in a way Nuha boda kuina la Gambia kuina la kolla kafo mimbe la kafo mimbe dunia kono atelo mu vice chair TJ anen dolla leads janna sate to janna Gambian association o mimbi jami ya lon ko Gambian ol be mimbi jam wol be la kafo mu woleti e ka vole di Gambia Welfare Society atelo mu wol fanan na assistant treasurer wala ma kodo min kataraje ke la kodo manage nyaadi le ka kodo dépense nyaadi le itolle siri wokundu so bi nga topic on min soto momin bijang definitely mantara ka sinkoto chika nyini mo fenne de mi yalongol mo faple tay wolle ke ay ke anu fonge fo yalong because we need to ngana more recognizing and celebrate Nuha mbe tentula mbe jayila mbe na lamoyrali fanan tentula mbe jayila bar jannim bitala mbe na onkul Sunkara Jata mba welcome no program oto aning if on la jabi jato seko jabi is around here fadam be kontonna so gunjur online ade mol mo be kontonne be bisimila la program do Nuha janni nga program kmas definitely min keta kunum wala mun na Gambia no la nin na Senegalel Gambia no nin Senegal be mu badi ngoleti fodin kele kulmo fandi tep nearly about more 150 or about nearly 200 people koi kata Spain at Grand Canary sai ngamire kata wole to kulungo nata boy kulung ngamira nearly a fure tan say yo bondi jele so malon fo fure jamal buda Gambia le fo bada Senegal le bari furel barambi naka ni dolu sotole bar nata lo je fo ninkel be bulo setup mi minna pour ka muta danko dore kana tune ando dindingol fanan be nyini kono le dindingol bi jele o kulmo fanan kono so fonga wore ko na ba ni mu fondinkel la soleti so kole ako min ka fondinkel bula wala one of the things be wala discourse la jam so no na lamoyla le konton janni ya lon ko be topic ko fon commence lawo ani ye SFM dim fo about nyum kunu mini banta anim fo din kele ko le ya min ke bulanyi na pour ka dunyin dulato fo niol ka bonde bawo region on be ko Gambia ni Senegal mo tan se fat just within 1 hour wo ko le ata baba kele welcome Mr. Ceesay
abaraka bake Ebrima nse wota bake pour katranyi programme auto an mbe jiberlal ning lamoyrlal be kontonna e tolni e konton sen walla ko yafo nyamen rong tumando minul mallong nde mbota kiyam kuinalale kuinala dunga tabe kiyan temale Lower River region tundola yo ko kumala sutiya kamadron bawo na londo la karola ani na doko la karola Ebrima ya be fole nte jampala wolto but nganna karon commencé kuinala primary school de kaboto kata Muslim high school ning ite Ebrima benta damin to nganyolo nje kaboje den kata Rural Development Institute fana nga sanji fula karangoto wolam nyi community development karangote o dalilo kati nyinati ni bota santoto e nyanta katala fana ko ku ne atra abe santoto yirwandla yo ye londo nyino fana hani atra mang do ko soto je mando elaw londo iso tamande no la ka santol to makoy be yirwano la nyame yeah and then woto kayen so bulaje bawo Ebrima yo fole inata dindingol la karola abala fa warta bake asuno warta be sangol kontonna bawo kula me alon ko among dam folo mo malum mol minul fata e botamin tollelto nin mojel la Gambia wala Senegal barin se même fono drongolum ka sangol konton akita dawda to nde duwala talali ko ala se yam feye ase lajamo sono ase arjana kallanke dila fana ñimmu kuleti mi alon ko a balafa warta a miro warta kan dindingolu especially ntolminul be tubabu do ni ikoybe diamula ka fo dindingol alkana tani ñinduma silola kanyina mira ko atabe tubabu do amalla fi burun ngata badum amanke woti tanyal manke kilenti ni akara ye plain silo sodono by all means nanan wala entolbe sijam kurkan mfambete andino aninna dimbayam aninna kabilolo aninna banko yo bari katani nyin duma silola kulam me alonko diamo siata ko kono bakale Ibrahim because ni ajibe janni ibe lola fana ka fuko ibe dindingol jalayla mune atinna dindingol kanyinke nyanta wolto jibela yo kulel ba kono me alonko kul siata bakale bari folo dindingol jikla telebe la karola because nga man sakundal minul soton na banko kambiring ntol dinding ntol la nyafanu kata fo bula bira fenne tege me alonko dindingol nyase tarano menkan yejiko soto ko jande mfanabe balula no janne yo nyin dalilo wala yatina ndela jeroto dindingol jiklateta badum hadama dum wesi jiklate nyaaw nyanta silal fana ye mira ibe mune keno la min satinna ebe situation o men kono pour yebo ko yetra situation kendo kon yo amunta o fana dindungolu isa mira no barbutungi be support sotono la nyaadile na society be nyaami ni ajibe wol minul be lola be wakilla be fambola pour ka los society nyaato inin dindungole do ko ke mako ke lundi silol kan ke kayitandi dindungol la e to le silol minul ta asifa man siya na society kono so fanamu ko me alonko ay batandiro ke kol kono fo kaaje ko dindingolu ben sati na kuuta me alonko sike kuti min not e hakilo yirwandi ke makoy ke nyalondi silo yo nsedam woto folo Ibrahima bare commune ntela jeeroto dal yinem ku me alonko ku dantanno kabo ku jamal kono me yatinna dindingolu hanibi kanyen ko masilota barin tolbinu fana be dindingol nyaato nyanta wakilale kana dindingol jalay do ngande yo ni dindingol jalay dalilo mi asna e katanin ko masilol ite nyanta fenne recommend la dindingol e nyanta menkel yo bar ni lo tay ko dindingol en ko alkana tani ni ko masilol ni mom bete amul ka faajel say imam fem foye nyanta menkela pour que ila life ni bete ande hani bi reman dindingol makoy o ka dindingol kampande ku kala so wala na jama intenen dindingol diamuta nke ya mari nyine la ko lok mo be te keno la office kono do kula mo be te keno la tuwabu du tala ni tuwabu du silo ko ta bar ni man silo so si bang ye mira ye fan assess ya gibe ite se mun kule keno me alonko ibete ya ko wala to because ye mo moje tubabul ka fa mu ye ko unique skill sets amari yola so me alonko ani mo man de wol yo nyante fallon le deni sina longi be menekel dindingolu amunta man guidance le soto na society kono wala yatina hanibi through ye fang assess ka ila unique skill sets ni identify anasita kuol kono la yunkumu is a vicious cycle of problem will mean be caring because near problem on you problem or root cause mumunati nima address hanibi problem on to solve la but root cause ni aka sub root causes lesson so a juloni jam fata bakale but ni mam bula juloni no foy koy ba a solve la tema ñina atna project jamalu e ka fail na africa tundola because ibuka root causes jube wol fana la sub causes pour ka ajeko kawo problem wol ñino address.
Thank you, Mr. Ceesay. Because important, I know this is outside our topic, and we are what fonga address. Bao it's a topic kumbaya Altola banko anal la somo will be far la in this large number. Wo koleata baba bakele and kotoma lamin to rebe kontona Jo Sanya also can be kontona program or to be welcome la wo kumaya tababa kele pulunga address. Because Tonya is a more blame nyaonya, youth all blame nyaonya, youth all alfal, anila mansakunda will they need to take responsibility because near GB Kevanuha about 44% of Gambia youths between the age of 15 and 24, over 44% or nearly 50% are unemployed. Yo samba from 15 to almost 30 or 35 years. Ibatara about over 60 or 70% of the population's youths are not employed. So dobijen kaminde for we keep saying ko agriculture bijele titala samadola. Near agriculture almost half of the Gambian population be agricultural. But in the rural areas about 80%. Of rural people and 90% of our farmers will be depending on agriculture. But near GB, agriculture only contribute 20% of our GDP. Walk around about so not also tools not also we don't educate kids on how to do farming in agriculture. More than agriculture I'm talking about. But if dunta ibika market so to be a product sol wafula nyaming storage fanantie ila product solely it is stolen no ifangwe and they are only relying on rainfall meaning local patterns up and down. So at some point youth soul really there's nothing much for them there and near GB business or nimfengol ike tax min nila fanana just a business startup and all those wolida koleata baba kele for the youth. So I have to sympathize these kids, although ma condone pruka risk nyinta, because we are going to come there in a program okono in minikela pro youth solism symbol means to imamine kalamuta maybe, I think Janne be borela inyanta sila so kono ning masakundal mi ya long ko ila interest ima water yo bondije because it all the larger part of the population so quartier fa ye bondije. Dan yetaning nim kulungola kampani kama then you are not going to achieve anything where long iborta minna yeta to dumin kono garauta so one another nim program of is very very important. Kemanwa saying that let's get back to our program. We need to have financial inclusions so that say youths la expands abilities nila employability and entrepreneurship, but that's not part of our culture. How do you think we can include youths in our, in the financial inclusion, in terms of youths from local level to even up to government level and private level in Seminekeno,
Well, yalo ni could be especially it could be youths together with financial management. Ibe other areas for Nigeria because when you talk about financial management, coming Fanko Maranola Nyadile, Fanko Maranola Hadamadimola behavior coma. So for this program, not concentration on behavioral, a branch of finance, behavioral finance. Now, behavioral finance, ataka kudantandel jibe. Wolum nyinti molmini alonko Fanko bebulu. Elafta pruka fanko nyinka ndol kiankol ka fude kamalayan wala ñinti investment yeah wo fanko ñing iba invest no la ñaadile wo investment no ñing ñanta kala ñaami wo mu harma di wala behavioral so wala tina behavioral finance ay psychology male ay sociology ma ay finance fama co-finance so number 1 ni ajibe ko youth solo imang include no ñaadile financially is sociological aspect in my society. Because when you talk about sociology, group society kono ekamanya dil. So in group wala mu jumal delta asikeno na man secondal tile, asikeno na commercial banking sector tile, asikeno na other financial institutional tile mine alonko itollel marata na fulo ni fankola. Yo, wala ke baro aketale to a point that ibukasi kakufa mo mira me alonko ise dindi mo funding kel minul be duma ke dake no nyin na flow maranya kono no nyaadel so number 1 we dami ma wolum na education section so ni haji ben na curricula among intelligent financial education include so wolum nyinti kamol karandi ni dara karam mo do pour ka finance karam ndolbe tata ni wo stream o nyina ike karandi nyina la finance mu munati inyanta accounting kala nyaadel but actually ibuka mol karandi no menna wala nyinti ko ibe ila na floni ba marano la nyaadile at that young age so sign them NGO start takana Gambia min yalon ko na musol karandi la inyante la simple bookkeeping kala nyaadile ni me wafi wala munafulo de min dunta ni men dépense nyanta dundla tan nyanta safalaten so this kind of financial education be lacking na mainstream education indali dole yatina broadly financial exclusion assembly wata back in Gambia and financial institutions among any strategies soto ibe mol mi yalon ko exclude na ibe include no la nyaadel so near example ta Nigeria la financial section for example when you talk about lack of cash in the economy so cashless economy so Nigeria yo approach leta because neither problem was solved la enyanta tanya le tala men sati na yo problem on solve so o approach ni etoli yake nyaadi le pour ka kodo munkuma me alon ko mol ka nyojo kodo la te yewo tala pour nyin kamala bank nim bank tema so we bank sol forcele ye programul samona men sati na kamol karandi banking kata nyaadi le ning athara yete kodo munkuma tala pour ka joroka so that is one strategy be jel mine alon ko na Gambia government se all apply no le na financial institutions all apply no le pour ka financial inclusion ka expand ka dindingol include ke educate inyante la kodol marala nyaadile mu investment products le beje especially in la Gambia ni ajibe stock exchange man sa Gambia so saying mu investment products le beje me alonko fondinkel se wotano pour ke la kodol nyinul ka dundiye ka gagner wuluno o investment o nyin kono so nyimu kulet me alonko ntolu as individuals nyanta try na banking sector and na financial sector nge engage ye hakilo bulandi nyinna ko programol be jele nyanta minul tala men satin na because number 1 it will form the benefit lawati the more customers they have the more revenue for them so but me more exclude financially because it commence to economy maybe $500 at one point I will give an example ni a salary among certain levels see ibuka bank ko yela no Gambia so wo be mu kulete me alon ko police le mu minu alon ko ye mol discriminate le minu alon ko nyin na flo jama so nyanta munekela nyanta protocol le sembal na men satinna wo mol minu alon ko e fanal e kasuto kele bari la suto nyum wara dani sew keno nyaadi le kadundi bank wala kadundi investment protocol kono abe wulula nyaadi le pour nyin kam lay fanal stefan na fam so nyille mo mine alon ko na financial sector in the Gambia it will include
Thank you so much, Mr. Ceesay. Don't be afraid to blend some English in it if you want. Because I know not everybody who can speak Mandinka, and maybe they will have some claims of what we are talking about when we mix English sometimes in it. I know predominantly we are going to speak Mandinka because many people can speak Mandinka in the Gambia. But Janim Bitala, Fongan na chairman ba nga welcome Alhaji Pamfa is watching you and Ndoma Fanang sana samate anila ila dinningo apanan be jibela o ya lo ngalo neta dawda bine normally so kanya man tere mandi yeah James Junkunchame also is a good to see Mr. Janneh, after so many years. Thanks you for everything, sir. And yes, Kevan yenyimim for this our government, no procession of our government. Many along kabirin kuni bijanim bi. Sako bimbe wato minto, internet age, information of distribution. They can definitely do a lot if a youth soul engage lamina. Just sometimes among it's not even expensive. Amantara commit is all about coming out and give some financial educational lessons to kids, because don't like in UK anyway, ikaje kadino le dundi kabribe 7 years ibe kodin dile le pocket money dile la ibe sambala do kuring wala the newspaper will drop land here and there the account yelele they are in charge of their own accounts and all those things puruke karandi dobje hande daw ni manta class o kono bari se karandi nim business o be bulo kono dinno na fe nanje ya fa nyanta minkela because research jamala keda and some of the things me along ka keda barrier to put in the account sort of a savings ke is the information is not all there or the distance near the provinces financial institution mantaraje so saying that he say only 15% safe to accumulate capital for launch and expansion of business. Either to launch a business or expansion of business. Warm countrywide, they need at a rural area. Nimelo wobekela might be 4% or less because not only the distance but the information matter of locum purmolia or kaminke. So banko is saying koma babaleti ni unemployment gap me alonko is bordering us. Me alonko is one of the threat to our country. Because if youths are not employed, they are there. They're open to take drugs, and that's going to increase their unemployment also, that's going to be, reduce their effects, to impact on the economy and the country. And that's going to, the triple effects of that, unemployment on youth, even on mental health. So governments can address some of these things, so because niajibe molka savings came in na youth soul, mostly wolomu, top of the agenda is expenses for social celebrations. Expenses for social celebrations, and ikawole came in not handy yake bank leto ikata kama jene nabi kulile jina na muso konomata o maybe salile jina ko dinne kafunkafu na to ya beta enya pakang ya betinya so before yare nyaming aninka kodo tinya rate minna we need to talk about those and work out an individual responsibility. I will come to you for your comment on that, because if we want to progress we have to be frugal, we have to save, and we have to invest. And any of these things, ntola culture me long, maybe more kavole, ning ala damim farare, maybe about ofenkelan and all those things. Kebanua, go and comment on that,
Yeah, well, coming ngafunyaming kumasibla drong at the beginning, niajibe vicious cycle, because coming nim problem was sort of problem wala root cause ninjibe hanu bi problem woni buka solve no. So wala na nyum program woto na intention munyenti puka diamu coming kodo soto nyala, but at the same time yo kodo finance re ba kala nyaade. So left diamu la investment product dantan na mini alon ko be Gambia at the moment molse famuna fanno men ala return more compared to before, which is good for the economy, by the way, but for savers and investors, it's not very good. Mainly, main source of revenue for the Gambia government. It's fair to say, even in November, Gambia government left a kodomin dontola. Well, you mean start card donto from 2nd of November. Kana for next week, 25th of November, is $2 billion. Government left all don to la mol but mbo area nyum fana ko indla pour mol sa aklamuta o area nyum katama nyami wolam through treasury bills ani sukuk salam ani Gambia government bonds wolmu area let mi alon ko na man sekunda e ka kodo donto la mi alon ko adiminta ba andu nyimbu donto let mi alon ko bawo mol la londo mom futaje mo jama Gambia ni nyinin ka treasury bill ka fen ko awu munati because he malon ko treasury bilimu silades mi alon ko man sekundal kata pour ka don troke ni lefta pour que e ka fumi la recurrent expenditure pour ka wol dépense wala mo teacher la salary ti ani maintenance sol minul be kala motor la essence solo ani la maintenance repair solo ani spare parts solo all those expenses e ka wala for recurrent expenditure so man sekunda ani ko do banda e man ko di soto Exburun Central Bank le eta e don troke e ka don troke nyaadi le ka treasury bill del issue so in November karo damma $2 billion e gole don to kam locally from the Gambia winning na external loans yo so ni nata funding ke la karola follow janni ba follow funding ke le wala janni ba follow momo e inyante la kodo dum le tenne foy kodo nyi yasoto yo ibe kodo nyin sotla da nyaadi le yakuma foje mi alon ka kumata baka wala nyinti ko na molu hani kodo lande nin hewo kata do esi kodo nyin ta ya aduni kunna excuse me hewo te bayno la ngaw saralen na kolci kono barin sa talano nyaadi le tinyaro ngaw bondi kol kono memu na dinol comme ni atre mu musulmati sunno e min fo yewoke wala mu christianti ela dino e min fo yewoke dukaadi ko tinyaro kana keno kol kono wolbe taman wala nyaadi le follow foye kodo sur yo kodo nyi isa soto no nyaadi le wala maybe ni do ko ke ka do man ni mel landi ni do mo yedo landi ka fumi savings wo akado akasiya nyamin tumando nasiya futata stage doto isa tano le ka dundi mina nyin protocol minul fola mol se investment o keno damen isa dundi no wol kono andu nibo investment o kelo protocol fanal kono inyanta sila nyaadi lel tala mbatra lel ngawto fana ko endi mol ma pour nyin kamala na dindingol minul be ani momo membe nyim programme o jube kan nin atra fembe laari ngabulu ase o kodo nyin tano le a kemalan ko ngoti pour ka dundi no o protocol kuna ka gagner sotaje eyo but ntolu na society akawo ko yata bake because coming after nyamin society for pour moye wuli me alon ko abe wakilla because nyimbe mo sacrifice lete yo na profile kono yenyum fojela ko na community service nkamenke so the vice chairman of Queen Diaspora Association and assistant treasurer of Gambia Welfare Society. You know, bemu community service let me along ko jorteje. Mfongola taimo ani mfongola nafulo nka wole dundije ka kuolta mande. You know, amanjara purka befo but we sacrifice sifa comme Gambia Welfare kamenke ka programo londi ka mol karandi inyanti la kodo mara la nyaadile. Womu programme to me alon ko as a replicate no Gambia either individual charities minul beje or individual local NGOs minul beje ko programme si falta ka expand kamol karandi kodo maranyala na fulo maranyala pour nyin kamala ke makoy ke hakilo bulandi nyin nako kodo e buka landi pour kata ka adundi hewo kunna bari nyanta landi la pour nyin kamala ase wuluno fo ita se fam muna fanje ikomo fana ya fam muna fanje yo ñinlal mu kuti min alon ko e be lakrin na society ko bakale Ibrahim.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ceesay. Work clear tale. I'm so you're online. Don't continue le pour ka youth all engage because ñing is lacking in our society. In youth ma long ibe la finance manage la nyame imalo do bije faria be nyanya bar sembo min bela it's a kodom bajondino nyadi we akana ke na mol mostly coming olom se la kolon singolom ne kolon simbi ya mimbi ya mire kodo ya kodo bajondi sanji kilindoro ya mire wonyanta fensi le lale and sometimes it doesn't work like that janni bitala samate ko ako cashless transactions will help reduce the corruption in our institution which is very true. Confident the government should start introducing the apprenticeship in all sectors to help youth reduce youth unemployment. We know where governments are interested in about government me along amount of your population in a future generation. They are skillless, they are unemployed, they are taking drugs, the petty crime lab because of human engage. New government come to killing some 2 million. I have finance in driver la security and in fuel. Really speaking, we know definitely one priority is to use la empowerment because for them they are very narrow-minded. Wala muntoli di in the immediate family wala kila no tibabu do ni fiangol tole you don't let them do because they want the level of unemployment, the level of lack of skills within our youths. Amanya na kila wonyame small country me along is 2 million people. So say merry go round nya the book has to stop with the leaders. Although it started from somewhere, but the leaders more be kila kodo accumulate la di to la puri manage on their behalf to make their life better. So ni woman can no nyama wobe kolea la baba bakel. Yes, keban weka nyimim for in terms of savings wo kumaya ta baba kele. And then about near most of our people, young people and all those things, ikata kodo karfa ID terele la waleta karfa bitikiti wala hiya wato laita karfa dobi ka asusu ke barhano susu fana niya yele mai ka tuida male bulo kono but one wali risky ta baba kele because na tinyata be conflict la create la mai bitela kodo soto la no but ne kodo ke bank fana ye bank transaction use net track record soto je abe allow le pour bank la facility sol fana min bi jese access soto wala loan wala nim fengol but ne man kodo di at all fo ka kodo ma boy la to kunne ton kongoto o e ka kodo di la friendo la wala bitikiti killing ka di wala definitely handy la fita loan na banks te loan di la do bi je nyim bitikiti o ila family wal ka kodo min di la no wo bikasi baba we will come to bank for naka charges make interest because Gambia la interest is about nearly 20% or over 20% all the time about 20% na no because you do makata santo so all for number complications let so yes talk to us about new savings school around them and by youth all mako ila nyadi le janni binala ilota dami num pour wo continue go ahead.
Yeah, well, funding care unte nsisi memfono wala momo be nyim programme jibe ka o eba moy kan wala nyinti starting point for capital acquire wala ka fanko nyin soto so ebe fanko nyin soto la nyamin komi ngafo ni nga akrebe do ko la ye dodo mo ye doland fo 5 foot stage to me alonko den isa dundino kukunna andung funding care manyan na jutula do kula so number 1 ni o savings soto wala ne akare man savings no dolbe je is a capital ni acquire no nyaadi la wala ka donto family and friends bulu wala yeta imama kan wala yeta barin kan ka karim ma ko lefta bitikin dinna yala la jang na korda bunda la jang sulata wil kilena wala wil fulal yeta fm samul sa yelande e kam fo petit trading wala hawking hani atra mbadum fulol kamen ke fan ye tabulo nyinde da ye mutaran kala ya dungi bulo kante bitako lal ke janin kuro inhabitable ñinul be mo kulete mi yalon ko isa start no jele because ku ay starting point sotale ni man starting point kala ita wulla dro yeke kubati aseke man tabe ngote de ban malo mo be keno la nyaade so for isa start dulato coming na kumo kono at the beginning ngafo ko mo be te keno la tubabu talati mo be te keno la office kono do kulati te mo be te keno la senelati fana because ni afre I botantela binde mun te tanore so inyante nyalo la kule kamme alon ko coming ngam fodro ya hadama dingi ay unique skill set le so to mi alon ka ni mo man de ngala fo ye fan study ye fallon ite la karola ite barakata no kule to because ni lota ye fan jibe ko seno kay iko man diawal oto mun kule be je mi alon ko ite se kutute no dami ye nyalo wo kan then ya start ya plan so dindi ngolum be mum fole wala nyinti ko ya start ni atra hani block kosol ndol nga obe kele pour kana school fees jo samal kono during summer holidays nkata ma songol no maleka liberesi yake pour nyin kamala ka kodo landi during summer holidays nin school oli yeleta ngata nganna school fees jo nganna parents ol da hande wol during non summer holiday time lam parents ol ka na school fees minul dinna so obe ko kulete me alon ko funding kel nyanta je mira lal fana ni atara ebe karamola atray be inila parents be mako nyoma ko la nyaadile aliye dete nyola aliye ila karam nyinjo. But then coming back to acquisition of capital, coming off nyami ni man savings ke iman don toro soto no ila friends ol bulu wala ila family famoto, then isa raise no da min to fana wala minti bank. But ko Ibrahima ite afu nyami bank mu fen dulati me alon ko ni man ko do dundije itelon ne melon mol kono, so ite don to no fana naka chabu futalo fana to how that banking sector works. But funding kel nyanta menkela wala minti ikana jitu kula. So nin tata sa mfutata stage to dami alon ko misal fi ye savings sotole wala ye don toro soto la families bulu wala la friends ol bulu ibadun la mum business la kunna ibadun la mum investment la kunna. So nga investment sifa do fo jam wala petit trading ni akra ko do man sia isa kuma suno wala hawking komi ikamena fo njenda njaayo ko de it's all beke no. So nyuno kulete me alon ko ni start Gambia ntogan funding ke jama be je fon wara wol doltile kaje ko nimmoli nje kon te be njenda njaayala he karwo kayate sa banta bulle kana mol danku because ite ya lonne ibake kan dalilo men yakata ye foundation of belief faye. So ni nata woto then the next level of investment will be medium term to long term investment. So nga program nga topico men arrange wo area la wala treasury bills ti treasury bill sukuk al salam ani central bank bills kata Gambia government bonds. So kakumasin in treasury bills la, what is treasury, what are treasury bills? Treasury bills mo kaito leted wrong. These are just pieces of paper many alonko value le beje. So akatama nyadile so mojama ni ajibe araba central bank katenda leke mol minu yalonko kodo be laringe bulu pour ka dundi nyin treasury bill kunna. Treasury bill ay sifa sabala soto me alonko kar sabata be jele nin kodo be bulu man sula menna jannin kar saba isa dundi no wotole mbebi min to bi ye 430 million bi arabo bi on the 18th of November central bank yole tender for let me just make sure 450 million bi yole tender pour ka don toro ke mol bulu min alon ko kodo be bulu e lafta invest la. So treasury bill atekata ma nyaadile keme o keme dalasi tankonontoni worowla anin tankonontoni kononto anin butut taw worowla nin saba. So nin kumu nite kemo dundije ibe dépense ibe gagner men sot la ibe interest men jole ya abekala about 9%. So bi rate mu wolate. So treasury bills katama nyami wolem nyinti domondi moy semen dundino je wolem $25,000. So ite investment okay no la in treasury bills less than $25,000. Atenin sukuk al salam ebe mo sifa kilmolet. Ebe be the same rate le bari treasury bill central bank kawale siandi than sukuk al salam. So nyinul be mo investment product let me alonko ni ba san na ebe ka kayto le san wala tan ko treasury bill mo kayto le ni o kayti kensa wonyin san kayto nyim bala yake let's say $5,000. So $5,000 so nite by a jola ikaminjo akadasa $5,000. So let's say ni atra rate be 10% le it be $4,900 is ibole jola central bank ya dila ila investment onin karsaba. So nin karsabo nyim banda nin central bank bete jola e be jola 5,000 amunta ko ye gagner men soto je wala mo $100. So ala face value membe suffering abala eta kamenjo akadasa wala le. So ni ba dile la membe suffering abala ekejo wala. So nyine atina problem o create na economy to because Gambia man sekunda kodo bante bulle to a point that in November karo damma $2 billion ye wala donto. Ya donto through central bank bills treasury bills. I will say this because nga tale pour ñim programme kama nkana kuma fo me alonko aseke moli fani akumate. So 91 day treasury bill wolon kar sabatate $75 million. Yewole donto. During November karo on the 2nd, kata for next week on the 25th, because next week for madama it be $430 million yewole donto la economy nyunko. Yo, Ninata 6 months treasury bill, 182 days, ye $215 million yewole plan pre be men donto. Then yena 364 days, about 9 months treasury bill nyinti. $1,190 million. So overall, ni ajibe ani Gambia government bonds ye même fana reopen bi arabola o fana tata kanyam $500 million. So ni nyinul be ka fu nyokan November karo damma Gambia man sekunda ko do min donto kan business mol bulu ani individual min alon ko do be bulu they have to pruka invest. Well, find it's important to talk about this treasury bill because currently this government, to give them credit, they have reduced the coupon rates, interest rates in a layman's term. Those coupon rates, the interest rates in the previous government, a catala for about 25%. So kemete invest in treasury bills, ikejo to ela ganyo kake $25 is let. In those previous governments, but since 2016, Kanafo sign, we rate reduced up to 9%. However, because Gambia Mansekunda over $100 billion. Obesiala 75 years till globally, both external and internal. So funding can say Ning Athra Econo Landino $25,000 is a investment okay no in treasury bill. Walla Sukuk al Salam. So Sukuk al Salam Mojamaya Mutako mu Islamic version of treasury bill. Ni Athra Malafi interest la, then is a Bao Mojama be have Islamic product until after Walla Malafi Nakodo Glatadami Alambe interest. But Niadundi Sukuk al Salam Kuna is the Islamic version. Based on my understanding.
Okay, so, all right, Nuha. Thank you. Mbe, once again, Ben, more welcome. I have Lamin Manjang from Kotoma, who is saying he is extremely diverse in managing finance with pool of expertise. Thank you for hosting and honoring this important show. In Chairman Ba Alaji Bamfa, great point. But I am not sure. I'm not sure if the mainstream financial sector taps or want to tap into the informal sector, which is prevalent in our economic sector. In Musa Chamfananko, the banks should also encourage and make it easy to everyone to open a bank account. The operation of treasury bills in previous administration doesn't encourage investment by way of banks giving out loans, which is risky to save investment of treasury bill government bonds. Therefore, I believe the interest rate need consideration or peg financial institution portfolio to encourage investment in the productive sector. So people are finding this very, very interesting, and they can coming for all of the lack of knowledge of financial tools that are available in the country. Alak Tababa, the government can easily come out. Somebody explained this to local radios, so that the poor kids land work is probably Jannah back where with thousands and thousands of dollars as we invest knowledge into treasury bill in the Gambia. Well, so I account yelala. I work no collateral so that as access to no loan to or as access to no some of the benefits la mini along ko bije. But Musa me mimfo ani alaj banfa mimfo mbe funding kill chala pour ya domandom. Not only funding kill in telephone fango jang, but sometimes you can easily toss 25,000 into Gambia. When saving some of our table, you've been here for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Saving so the water might be £1,000. You can deposit that into treasury bill. I tell Larry the motor mala. By the time might be memoruna, that will be a big money for you. But I give you quality quality bal banko kang minority will access to never popular into this treasury bill. Tolfa min bijani dindin jamalo. bawe many long yeta backway sometimes backway Janneh futa kata for Italy maybe will cost or Spain will cost you nearly $200,000 or 200,000. Imagine you dump into an account, you know, a revolver and all those into treasury bill, or the other one that we said, the Islamic version, you know, which 5 years that can generate a lot of money for you.
Well, yeah, that's the point, Ebrima, because sorry to cut you there, because if you actually look at it, ni ayathara kodo bebul me alonko emansula for example for more than 1 year, because treasury bill ani sas bill kafa sukuk al salam kafa na sas sas bill nying they are less than 1 year. So ni ayathara kodo bebul me alonko asiata 25,000 tile. And we left her invest la but imal lafa invest la product kuna me alonko abitambila 1 year. These are the products these are keno damino. So treasury bill ani sukuk al salam central bank ka agency le kewoto itolka doko ke Gambia mansakunda le comme ka dontoro ke molbulu mansakunda toyal. So bari another product beje ka homeyenko central bank bills. So the Central Bank Act I somebody central bank la pour ñing kamala ni authorize sulata ko la for monetary policy purposes comme ñing kamala yaaje ko kodo min nangamo min be al hawa ko no e ka fumi the volume of currency in circulation ni authorize lafta asiyandila. So Central Bank Act I somebody central bank la pour ka kodo don to molbul yo o finance keno through central bank bills la so ñin mu product stability mini alonko ni atre left investment kela andunga mang imal investment kela for more than 1 year, then is a invest no in treasury bill, wala invest in sukuk al salam, wala invest in central bank bills na kitulman siya bake because watilem central bank carbon ni ajibe ko kodo mimbe al hawa kona doyatale pour ka wo increase ñing instead of encouraging commercial banks to increase their deposit levels with the central bank, allow commercial banks to withdraw from their deposits with the central bank, then they can take that money out and push it, or the flow of money in circulation, volume of money in circulation. So, but what I think central bank bills it will imansia back. But then new product flow ni athara elafita ka investment ke so pruka ko indi molma investment wonying ala minimum value is $25,000. So ofana wala tuna ni be announcement okela ikamo TV to ikamo radio to or even central bank website ikafuje tenders are invited. Central Bank of the Gambia is inviting tenders from investors. Tenders must be in multiples of $5,000 and a minimum of $25,000 in sealed envelopes. So before central bank be SSS sambalana wala mo ila online system onyinti molka nyintendal nyinuli keke envelope lel kono ye samba ete deposit in the banking hall at central bank. But saying process onyin ya automate le eka keno online. So ñinle mu product sabolti but main product wala mu treasury bills and in sukuk al salam ni left investment kela of $25,000 or more, then within 1 year ñim product flolu ni nga atra central bank bills fana findita is investment okeno fana andum fana ita keno le mo ma ita wulino la ten drong ita iko be investment o ñin kela ni atra ibe investment men kela na mom $5 million si inyan ibakela through ila commercial banks le. So if we account yele one of these commercial banks, the nila relationship manager ina idea ko intede savings member na account or maybe $100,000 is left ka invest in treasury bill wala left ka invest in sukuk al salam. But ni atra kodo be bulu fana me alonko left invest la we are talking about serious money here. Left invest la for 2 years or even 3 years. You can invest in central bank, Gambia government bonds. So bonds are products mini alonko in treasury bills mamulum, but it will fanalu ika coupon rates wala bika interest rates ni atra coming B arabalungo ni $500 million so ye main issue through government bonds, Gambia government bonds, is for 3 years. So minimum is $500,000. So mainly, minulka investment okay in government bonds to a company lelti in the Gambia, because promo killing yellow science yafoko $500,000 is iman sulala for the next 3 years. Abekulala so wala na jama company walelka or investment sifake to invest in that product, but ofana minimum of $500,000 Islam. Ni ila invest la na dasata $500,000 la ite bon sanwal. So ñun be mu kulet me alon ko coming back to financial exclusion, amu kulet me alon ko central bank ñanta jibe la bakela. Ibe mol ma ko ino la ñaadile pour ka investment o ñin ka diversify, ka expand to include people many alon ko they are predominantly excluded from investments in the Gambia.
Thank you.
Knowledge of these products is lacking, and number 2, accessibility to these are lacking. So, bibi la nina ta ilota ntola kuina la bantabato iko moyenko wili mwani lulu enyanta la investment okuna ababon la mentole. It's a problem. So that investment portfolio is not fair. It's discriminatory to the rural folks. It's discriminatory to the poor. So pruka fuarea kele na banko kang mansakunda nyinta nyindula jibelale. Central bank governor, if you are watching this program, you need to really look at your policies and work closely with parliamentarians to sort out the Central Bank Act, if it is limiting changes to the minimum amount of investment that people can put in these products. Because through yellow Gambia kono yafo moyenko will mwani lulu investment for 3 months, ira 3 months sulala memba bonni na be wakilla ka bonni atesel. So wala yatinna ni ajiben na society kono in the Gambia, the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer, because obviously you have your $50,000 yeta ila commercial bank to ila relationship manager face you can go left to invest lale in treasury bill or in sukuk al-salam. So within 3 months you have your 9% interest on top of whatever you invest there, given back to you. So, and on treasury bill every week let make issue. So on every Wednesday, 10 o'clock in the morning at the central bank in the banking hall, what time want to make any envelope okay, nite be bidla, ete ko ebe 100,000 invest la, bari ite lafita 10% interest la. Nite ko okay, mbe 100,000 invest la, bari lafita 20% interest la. So nyimol minul be bidding ke momo kafole ilafita rate jelle la be jola men. So kana wala jibe ye weighted average nyinta comme temalanko rate temalanko nyi yewota den ebe mol jola wala. So wala kake rate timi alonko then ibina mol be inform la min alonko yela bitsol atle ka foyenko okay ite sula tay ko be wil kemele dun lañi investment okunna, therefore bari ite ko elafta 9% la bari actually ndolbe jola 5% la, because wala agree ta na sonta wala then you put your money in ibela 5% interest la ni man som wala then isela allotment nyinta ya di modo wala me alon ko abela la pour ka invest. So
thank you so much, Mr. Ceesay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ceesay. Be mol la comment all fana read la so that is a long mol be min fola Amaduko great and pertinent topic for our society. I only hope that the ordinary people of the Gambia can listen to this program. And to Resula Fananko, Sukuk Islam version of is Islamic version of a treasury bill. And Usman Junduture and Jundudra Jawara Sore says, this program should be followed weekly. Because it's very educative. I would recommend youths to follow the advice of the experts. Also, Amaduko, I will encourage the producers of this important talk show to link up with the community radios and other news outlets to broadcast this program to reach the grassroots community. Mfawola brother Lamin Bojang Woko, it will be beneficial to enlighten the viewers on risk or otherwise associated with the various investment instruments being discussed. I think some of the downside, because very often I positive sort of like negative sort of especially for our poor people. Very educative. Janne binala nuwa to prove sometimes more fun and discourse. Memo problem or the financial tools many are available. They need to be widely communicated to the populace. And Gambia communication big problem letije. Maybe ni woli dol bije what's asable with the government corporation because government ning private institutions financial diamulale so that so that the interest rate the amount of loan coming the molla and some of the countryside in rural areas financial institutions manage the distance will be a more disadvantage baba bakel and secondly do bije na petty cash na musol kamini sotela na kifengol ni fengol to woli dol be nyanta encourage la pour government education sensitization ske microfinance or so only tap no nya dile so that we need la kodo collect no say il have to mean safe la janne bondi ta so fan kono so safety and all those things we will come to that but naturally in the Gambia because of it's a patriarchal society Kel tend to save more Kel tend to save for to launch a business or to start being entrepreneurs and all those things are changing gradually because the societies are excessively biased in terms of genders and all those things financial control but nada je musol ka kodinde so to disadvantage but mangol minke ka domandingo min soto I think we need to educate our women more because nga fole ko janning tarno ni bonde the background to me yalo ko is a poor background one way pour ye famo bondino because ke famo bondino for real cycle ko na koleata le niya inherit so but one way to do that to make that journey easy for you is you have to be frugal for bulo ija your priorities long ya long ko la fita nyini be lale bare mine munna somati ani baunte masoto mbatu ngam fangota ngam nga savings ke pour ndingoli ndenga batami ke wolkana wo ke saje se future generation o nyimbil no ya jele because dan ka jele tibabol ika tibab muske ba jele wala tibab ke ba be batari ngabe sunkan din sometimes sorry for that language bari ke ba to na fata doron amma marin wali yala kodo inherit they come they go and find a lot of money in his account or in her account me yalo ko tolbe wotala as a leverage pour la future ta ya dada aide bungoli sang walle se kudo lita no ni wala because ini mo kata jele jele nje yabo akona grand ne fata any amount of money grand fango je because dollar nebo bi jande mi yalo ko struggle in a lot do bi je hani ti fango wakata sukuro dani tolle barbira ba fata she left some substantial amount of money jeni je things change yalo so but in the mall ne kodo je fango bulo kono de tin ko anyanta spendale malla finga bulu jal ning kudo leke pour nga savings ke nga lonko ni bota fuare ako neti nalo no tilkili damma yeke fanke fankamati maybe modu kaminke itete wokela do kodo mabo do mande maybe ni tema enjoy ite mang bise barila maybe tela immediate family ite dada batami kono wolti tala no woko no ila fenko because ni wonte do bije kuliol manual bitoli every 2 years program o kake sako musukunda because ni ko musole alkana kulio ke wo mu fitina baba deti but ko the whole family la kodo accumulated money ka wole tinya in these expensive dresses mi yalon ko ya dun tile killing the following day ya send ya sabba Gambia the following day doli order obe mu family la ko ngol can say a lot of savings ke wala komi ka nyini mimfo ini la disadvantage mu nyaonya but we could do lot more better then da ngam fo discipline ngalon ko really mbatu nga kodo say for greener pasture pour soma ninga financial problems or wala ninga health problems or so lawo kodo kan ngata na balu ke wol I think we need to educate everybody else but specifically na musol because nga research both the UNDP la research UN research capture jele ko musol are not doing any savings that ma for musol be but the majority of them two ka fole ko na suzuba wala na fenkoli na fenkol be kodo safe la wala to bari mantala bank two ila kodo fanan ikamabu program wala kama social fenkoli ning bayo li bari bika ke pour ye investments ke and dunia change baba ke we need to send this message to na funding kelo because funding kelo muskundani ke kundale they are all called youths more ila sanjobe between 15 and 24 UN ko wala mu youths so carbondi way katasa to bandika for young people and all those things pour be salon ko really be nyantan famo prepare lale ngam fa discipline especially ni bota disadvantage background pour ye bondi no be structure minto ye ko dindo inta ya kafun do be la fata min be le ko keno ka ko do be ta only 20,000 kan min for 25,000 wo mu do mandi wala di wo mo defend mol kamin tinya til kilingoto on be akulu ni fengoli because ne do mo ko nga do mo bajo ni nga bajo ni fo nga fay goto len ka kontan so average kulio saying if you are at nya if you will spend 25,000 above because I do the mamo how many thousand so walinya tekela kule timi ya long we need to communicate partners in na musola nin kan na musudin wol nin min kana ko yes it's a life enjoy nole walinya ta balance pour la so that so many sa soto so may need hanni tema enjoy no di wol se platform soto isata worete bata min ke kana ta batal so I want you to focus on that too Jandi some of the disadvantages because lamine mim for some of the financial downside movement because I think we're important put more wolong nimbota to funding kelunila kenol we will come and discuss that. Go ahead, Professor.
Yeah, thank you, Ibi. Because ni ajibe me example fulani dila, but example follow wole mu na wo colleague do ni alon ko nabe office kilenne ate akamune ke nae fengol sang. This is just to talk about coming na musol kamenke ni hewo kana e feng odena Dubai ya dumo hewo kilimo na dronga banta e tadun na kotenke because ni adun next time e kasila nyina la ko molba folale he karla hewo ta nyine dunga fela ya dun kotenke. So now wo colleague ni ate kamune ke nae fengol minul sang ni wole wani ya kabulu akana murle kotenke ake ay eBay account le yele aka fengol wafi dami akana murle kawol natal ke put online ke wafi so yeba la ko ay kodo min soto ta ko kodo nyine ta kari cycle kadum fen kutol san kotenke for this year so atela joto akadum fengol minul dungwi buka boto because a trial ay capital acquisition ngam fono ay start ni wala because I moneke I kodo le save to a point I fengol sanno bring I fengol sang na min dung na 1 year si drong I will put online I will wafi I kodo min generate wo kono I fenkutol sang ko tenke I will dung so aka kala kodo recycle ten na buka kodo bonda la salary kono be min kala pour dum fenkutol sangal so o fanamu idea let me alon ko funding care is out there aninna musul fanal ni lafta pour ka idea nyinta bitikol be keri na online bitikol min alon kom fangol la musolu anim bar musolu anim binkiñol wolleli woliyele e saw fangol ñinu keno jele maybe mo beti keno la fenkuta sannati bar ni be fangol ñum fana kala je yaake je ko ñinde fangol ñinga dundala a yustale no so ni ba sanna même ba sanna sa sanyin dalilo kamala ko nka fewo men santende mo ne ya dunne ya sang ibakala nyamin yake wonyam so that is one example left mendil so example fulanjang ofanamu is related to a point me raise jang komi ila nebo nene tarta do ko la bank dole to me alonko part of my responsibility was to analyze investments so moneka ke mol minul ka investments ke in these bonds so these are commercial bonds me alonko commercial financial institutions wolel ka bon ning issue molka kodo ñi invest so coming central bank bon ñi même foten 2 year 3 year bon ñi ndol fanal la ñi mbenum bank mento my responsibility was to analyze these investments across the board so 3 year and 5 year bonds so muneketa in one of my analysis I came across this investment that was nearing its maturity so maturity in the sense if you invest it for 5 years, when it gets closer to 5 years, or at 5 years, what am I maturity? That is when it expires. Ni lafta ya renew, ni lafta ya investment or any interest me wulu, ye be withdraw. So muneketa, I identified one investor, and I still remember the figure. This was £5 million. This investment was nearing maturity, and there was no steer from the investor. So I had to. It was my responsibility to pass it on to the products team, Kaitan Dilako. Well, somebody has invested £5 million and it is nearing maturity, but there has not been any communication from the person. So Ulfanala do community ka investigate why that person has not contacted them. Fa talebang wala fo But to cut a long story short, this particular investor actually forgot that he had invested £5 million in this 5-year bond, because it's been over 5 years. Well, it's been 5 years since he invested that £5 million. So they had to contact him, and when he was contacted, the feedback I got was that he was asking, which investment was this? So, pour example, if you start low, then gradually you can build. Ike from better wole nyama, ike la family better ndi wole nyama, ike la community better ndi wole nyama. So another example to just show how people are able to accumulate wealth. Ning athra, that's what you want. Because amanke ko mobile lafta na fultiyara. Modol bi je ye londo soto dron wala mo wala target. But na fultiya ni anata alhamdulillah na man na emanke. So but ni atre la target mu nyete pour ka na fulo soto, then inyanta ferol lendra from now. So coming back to one of the points, one of the commentators is important. Niaje nga nyim protocol samanan treasury bill, sukuk al salam, central bank bills, and bonds. Niaje nge samanang. The reason is that these are products mine alonko itafono la risk teje, but ning atra risk beje fana is very minimal. The reason why it is because me ye don to kodo nyinna wala because near investment ke ika a invest mole a me alonko aka kodo nyinga ka don to etele bul pra la hajol tamanda o mu Gambia government let. So Gambia government ni way kodo don to ete bulu malon de mune be kala men satina Gambia government me amela kodo sendi no wo be kala nyine tiko the entire economy has collapsed. The Gambia government is bankrupt. The country itself is bankrupt. What dalilo le batina la ite investment o minke in treasury bill or yake sukuk al salam or yake in Gambia government bonds imela kodo sotono. So the investment is very safe. What dalilo le atina ngani protocol tombom prukan na mol makoy isa start no damina at a safer option. Fojaning ifongol below stage to dami alonko is na risk bata ka invest in commercial bonds or commercial bills. Zombenga jele like parastatal or minul be Gambia in the previous government, ika bills all issue lenu. Nawek bills, for example, Gamtel bills. So when Gamtel wants to borrow money, but because overdraft they share in bank, what they used to do was to go out with the help of commercial banks and issue Gamtel bills. So people who want to invest in those products will then buy those bills and then at maturity claim their money and their coupons. So nyine betama kanno. So wale atina nga nyim protocol select pro kamol makoy nkane encourage dum products kunna me alonko a risk high tabakele. But with treasury bills, sukuk, any central bank bills, these are investments mini alonko. I wouldn't say they are riskless. Every investment has risks, but the risks are very, very minimal. So that is the answer.
Thank you, Mr. Ceesay. Once again, we are talking about youth in managing finance and challenges in the Gambia. Topic, that is so juicy and so important, to curb the limit of our youth unemployment, which is, at the crisis level, But if our government can easily listen. But they should know this. They are experts on all those things. But let them switch their priorities just a little bit, so that at least we can minimize the youth unemployment there, because youth will be entrepreneurial. They will make money for themselves. They will be happy in that country, and they will reinvest their money into the country. They will not going to enslave themselves in what we know what is happening in Italy. We saw videos of our youths complaining what is, like a modern day slavery. A huge amount of them are dying in seas and all those things. I don't think this alarm us a lot. I don't think, because we so comfortable that yes, things are difficult and all those things. That's why these people should go. But at the current level of the performance of our government, I don't think anybody should support those governments, the procession of governments that we have, because of the lackluster performance that they are doing. That contributes to killing of our youths, that contribute to the explosion of drug addiction in the country, the explosion of mental health in our country. and unforgivable level of youth employment in that country, and it is increasing.
No,
near for people think it's politics, but politics rule this world. Our life is being micromanaged by politics. We accumulatively put our money together and give it to the government. Nobody else. No opposition is being paid from government's coffer in the Gambia. Everything is coming, is accumulated and given to government. Loans are taken on our names, on our behalf, and they are squandering them. So nobody, the youth should stay in that country. Really, yes, it's so contradictory when I am here. I'm saying they should stay, but back way should not be an option for you. Stay and toss these governments out of there. Any government that comes and they don't cater for your needs, and they don't reduce unemployment and the sufferings in the country, you vote them out. That is easier than go and submerging yourself in different kind of seas and enslave yourself into Grand Canaries and Spain and all that. But Mr. Ceesay, before I come to you, sister Ceesay, sad reality about some of us women. I think we will talk more about our women also, and Ceesay also. Wow. I wish we have an online market for our used African dresses. So thank you so much, Mr. Ceesay. At least, this is a kind of, jacking our people's memories and their thinking so that they can be creative and make money. Not you buy all about 500 pounds on a cloth, you wear it once, and the following day is in the Gambia. And next program, another clothes again. This is family money. This is family money. We need to communicate. We need to reduce waste. Sometimes, walamu na kodoli need to manage. Ninga na kodoli manage. Nintara no because more mean ka kodoli manage as family. Wolfanang na relationship ol katinya. And we jam him banko check and balances bijele so that ni relationship tinya tale kodomi mabo mobi be access soto la le man Gambia long but is well secured. So moment na sila la ko ha ninga nyinkete ting ning nyinketa tendim be fenkela you got to find true institutions min bijangale kodo safe then there's a lot of competition within families so much so that in dolfo min bijang nka ndo ku ba ke nya mbika no general we need to think about na financial nka nyimmi fo amanke Gambian ol damate dolfo we are poorly, we are so poor kana kodo manage jang. Because there is a competition here. Muzobe bungolola jana, kebe bungolola jana, nyindomba kila jana. So at the end of the day, nothing stays with us. Because at some point, mbuka kumafonyo mobe be nurinyo la bebe sila rinyo la dolbe asuzu kila jana dolbe ninkodo nata mbuka ala betala daming. Indicative. The clear example is new susu scandal me yalong kabe happen di musole jiminke ninkodo mubebe. You cannot just believe me. Can you thousands for almost millions. Mi alo ka bon tantol fuaro le la pol kono jam na musoli bulo kono nendara no ni explosion o manke is likely nte nyilon na woyalo so we need to be candid to each other. We need to be franco. We are not doing things right. Nindara financial management nan kanyimira Gambian youth solda mala but no ntolfa min bijang so far we are not managing ourselves properly so these are some of the things but it left them for the wall na working capital. It needs to be separated from the personal finance. Working capital, need a personal finance, man, mix that together. Yes, yama even for kelkam fenko le mare together. But neo jibe, ini bijang musobe the other side. Atoli kodo min kafun jang institutionally are bound jang. Kodo tetala no hanin ko wo futu na be banna fanang. Man Gambia olo bari jang, but han even in the Gambia that can also be arranged. Ningal lungo min nal talata and all those things. Then what obe kela min na jang mote mo cheat la no mobi can go away with hani bungo min ya lon ko do ke together de ti ba bol ka la football ka tutinya la jande ngam don le fon ka football preserve it tolti but nem football tinyata e ka kodo li talale bungo li wafu ye ko li talan all those things and mo be la ka benefit wala so manya na kela resent because nim kele water as a yardstick then what is that for it le nata jama ba fe nan jang all is that for ko mon na muso fe la nan jang and all so wole man ke no go area de nyimban ko ka institutions govern and ko wol ke bimbe mobe na fala ning lugo bin na li talata because we de manyo ni manyo ni football ka talade football ka banno but ning football banda institutions bijanne mi ya lonko abe mobe treat la fairly ni ma feel ko man treat fairly you can fight your way and you will get fair treatment here. Gambia offer, but definitely that's a no-go area. Really, So I think, Kelly Musol, Amanke Konka Musol the blame, we need to communicate. We need to, in secrecy, we are competing within our own house. Nobody is is making progress. We are getting old. Our kids are coming also. Ila kodomi yalong ko ikedina, mantara safe kangela. So ndoling a start dami, tolifadamba start la woleto. Might be in a very disadvantaged settings. Oba on tolifele ngamira suo konola. Barolman su te bulo kono janno mila suoti. So they need to fit in this place. They need to have a good starting point. So these are some of the things that we are talking about. Yes, the working capital, one more personal finance also need to be separated. Generally, one time about the topic, I will give you another 30 minutes so that you can do these things anyway, because this is so important. Conservative thinking I've been drag and common. We need to free ourselves from alonko. Nyimbankol institutions lebija. Na kuol kemi alonka bembe tala. Dunia unfortunate ala uncertainty mobu go control no. No matter fenko relationship ose dia nyanya there is potential case bannon. But nyimbanko na bantali kodo min kafundi nyola aldi wala account wo mu alti wo mala no mu dinni wol tale. But Anton Fongo Damali Talu, definitely more base a fence to the savings to the Hanali Talata, or savings, these are used no cooler, me alonka. Sete nafa, as a modo nafa. Nenda Nanaman Talanu al together, bingo, you don't win-win situation, neti. But in Kapodo, Tinya Ming, be compete Lajana, be Fenke Lajana, Yindumba, Funky Lajana, Yindumba, Fenkela, nothing stays in the home. Now man can Domoro in family, the woman can way forward. So yes, Janim Bitala Wato, Mina land for the funding Kelly, your opportunity means to second to lock on board to land Mimbije, your means and all those things. Go ahead, Kebanwa. Talk about
area Majanga important tobacco. Na Jarato, Ceesay, I meant for Oliver Caring. Coming in the beginning, I did mention that what is lacking, especially in our societies, in our communities, is people having that willpower, the willingness to sacrifice a fraction of their time and help the community out. Let's say things like financial education are lacked tabakele because number one, from Tola age, Kata Santo or even lower than Tolu, na curriculum among amantol mako ipurunga na that financial education sort of. And Atina Mojama Bije, they have wealth in the house, but they don't know they have wealth in the house. So coming Kanyam Memfoting, a simple thing, you create a website, Mialonko, eBay trade, like you put those second-hand clothes in there. Nimembas and Nabalonako, they are buying second-hand. There's no shame in that. So long as it's in good condition, I'll buy it. So almost cool let me alonko a lactan society konole. But Ntolu believes young. I think we are lucky in the sense that we have a community group me alonko is putting a program out there Prukamol educate financially at no cost to them. Absolutely nothing. Sometimes Ntolu Nkasi Janneh, for the whole hour ngamin allocate Prukamol Markwe, nobody comes. The people that we get coming are people from like other countries, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Nigeria. These are the people who come and seek financial advice from us, Gambia welfare. So, if the society is blessed with such an opportunity, I think they need to seize that opportunity and make best use of it. So, unlike Gambia, sadly, Sifal Mantraje me alonko. Ebe mo sot la me alonko wala ebe community groups sot la me alonko ebe time create la pour ka mol ma koy ebe la kodo manage la nyaadile ning aatra yi italafta ela kodo dund la nyina kunna muna mala ripa personality e nyanta muna sot la je things like that. All that support are lacking. Support mechanism is lacking in our society in the Gambia. But young, particularly in Leeds, I think we are lucky. And some people might say that I shouldn't bring that on this program, but I think it's important for people to know that we have a community group that is providing that support, and it is there for people to make use of it. So Ninata area mimma working capital and our personal finance. So it depends on how you are looking at it, because if you are like an employee. So whatever money you get, that's your personal finance. So there is no distinction between working capital and your personal finance, because you are an individual. So the difference between a working capital, where you will see a working capital coming in, is business or a business person, a sole trader, for example, or even a partnership, right? The money that is generated by the company or by the business, that is for the business. You need to assign yourself a salary. Yeah, whatever you pay yourself, whatever amount you pay yourself from that business, that is your personal finance. That's completely different from the, if you want to call it working capital, with regards to the amount of money that is needed to run that business. They're separate. And this is why companies, when it comes to companies, and one good reason why a lot of people set up companies is to ensure that they maintain that separate legal entity barrier. So if you are a director, even if you own that company, you are the sole director of that company. You don't even own that company. That company is a separate legal entity. You are a director and an investor in that company. You are a shareholder. So whatever you pay yourself, that should be a salary. And at the end of the year, if there is any profit, that should be a dividend. So anything else, that belongs to that business. So that one difference between, I believe that's what you are referring to as working capital and personal finance. So personal finance, near trade business or sole trader or partnership maybe nila friends or business or firm. I'll call fund your men every week or every month. That is yours. But the rest is the funds belonging to the business. Do not touch that money. In the UK, people are jailed because they commit fraud in their own company, what they call own company, because they are the director. They started that company. They are the only person who invests in that business. So we believe, most of us believe that, well, it's my company, I can do whatever. No, you cannot. Because legally, that company is separate from you. So what I have to make a more jail, because if your company means set up, embezzlement, they embezzle those funds. So they are separate legal entities. Now, applying that same principle to people who are sole traders, many a male business when you register, but they are just trading. So whatever income they get from that business, you cannot separate that from them. But if you're talking in terms of managing that business, the funds that are required to run that business, that is completely different from whatever you pay yourself. You can take the money, still yours, but you need to create that distinction between how much money you take out of that business to pay yourself for your time in running that business, and what money belongs to the business, or what money is available for the business to operate. So these are areas many alonko na molnyante understand na le distinction on insurgery. Even na Gambia ne business will ka fail nyilemu, because ikalole ka fo hay nta fo la company jimala binala diamula nyanta na ko do kala nyam. I have a friend me alonko I atelem accountant oti business do e Gambia me alonko sole owner. O mari nyin kodo diata nyama ka kewle nyama business wala checkbook ka bula la jibo kuna la naita kodo withdraw left right center na friend nyin kayanko e ka kodo ma nyaminte manyen na mala wanyama isonkata. So this is a major problem, and this is caused by lack of financial education. Na mainstream education system I am fairly financially, in terms of financial education, the curricula are so weak that people are not educated financially. Because ni ko be debate la like actually accounting karan. Yes, yeah, accounting karan, but at the young age, let's say from year 4 to year 6, janino bala primary school, ite nyanta lonnale, ela piki bank feleja. Ni tata ke ba e ki bitiko to ina ta e transo deal. O transo ni yeta ya bulela o poto nyinko. That is the way to start. And parents on nyanta nyimwele tala pruka dindingol karan. Niye dindingo ki bitiko tata anata yaso transo wala yaso talala. Ya fa yango mbe intala dile la bari ataya mabo. Nasi ata mbe sambala serakundala wala mbe sambala banjula ngatana fengol sange. This is how you train children to learn how to manage money at that young age, because the mainstream education system, so as parents, we need to take that responsibility, and as youth, sadly, until monkey youth, because we've gone past the age bracket. But the youth out there, really, these are things. These are small things. It makes big differences, because dindingo mi alonko abe sanji woro wala. We alonko he ninga inkodo ma bonasi adam fama ben sambala banjule ngata fen sawal. Abe dalla saving lale. So from then on, they will start saving. They will know. They will understand the concept of saving. You are saving for something. So
yes.
Encourage the back in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Ceesay. Ibota do ko la time mo min bija man siya bake. Although I leverage to the car, the topic of better, we will come back again. But Janin bina murune kang na final area discourse. You do things together if have the same priority. That means if you and your husband have the same priority, and secondly, not all couples. Yes, not all couples, that isn't bad too. Okay, so Lamin Manjanko, as men, we must set the pace first by advising and supporting our women to solicit their support in return to build a brighter future for the family together. We can work together and sort their health, but exhort them. Yes, and can you mean for this is not an attack on anybody else. Kakodo safe, Purusoma, Allah collective port kono like a bank. More be la priority, more woman ke different priority. Ma foko ale kodota, ale fencing and all those things. But you can do a savings or ale bungosang because more be le after bungola. Ite tara no renting na tol more be na le jita bungosang mi along kalsa invest no le so han na man tara ko no na be se la lisa wafu no mo big investment net. More be la priority lo woti, more be la priority lo mwoti inyanta savings kelale so that soma. Abukolo ko suzu nim lungo min nali atei then more go with your money. So nali wo savings ke mote kolo bondila no mo kunto ni lungo min na kol man janja wato min na setara la kudol la bari pour ka fembondi on the name of you all, so that's a communication setaraje yes more be la priority te kala no the same thing sako kele ni musol la priority kel musol nyanta pareli fengol ke and all those things. But sometimes dunia opportunity cost lady nibe fuaria ko ne lafta bondi la je wala le dinga lafte dingole bondi fuaria ko fo e famo bali fendol la ina woka bi ko ni ko ita karamola maybe ite do ku bakela no ite enjoyment ol ni fengol kela because ikata school all be mu cost let to your life. But fo e famo ta e famo ila fita minna ni ko be la vila woda male la is likely imanta thing achieve la life to. So coming together to discuss this is a family income. Me alonko with the kids included, Ghana didn't know bondage, they are included. So many internu keta tentine, hand internu fenketa mo bebe access to la woko dolale, mote mo cheat la no, many banko kanela mankambia ofo. So what mo cool at me alonko, we all need a house here. We don't want to be renting. You want to have your own place, ibela moge you can to go and rent. Nali invest la woto, womu mobile priority let, ninternu ngalpanali be nyokang. The mobile about common things me and Allah ding wala feature over na mobile priority. Let put something for them there so that it a disadvantage means to told for kana was to mobile priority. Have a savings me along ko hanin so mantano for na ninga tala mobile fence to let's say for na fala. I think will be nyatakela mobile priority that it together as a couple. But uncle for a janim bitala for the ethnic aisle. Womu mfamala muso min fende nyanta a market la jan man la gunjur online bi malan na pour ngo market ja. Yeah, definitely, because it's a creation. And we need to recognize and celebrate each other. Morning in Fennata me ya lonko society, handing kutije, you will have access to homegrown cultural foods. Me along Kanena Fina all the way Gambia, because this time things are so mess up in this house. Moment times because of the business complications. So ni more work more nyanta wo mari return to lale and na more fana encourage la so that in kanyi investment in kasuzu wole nim fengol mume beke yung program nyami most of the time wala mo nga bungolo in the Gambia nga namoli samba maka and all those is but wala ka kodo fanan generate that much sometimes nyanta investment of fanan try lale so that's kodo si revolve ngo fanan try because ni ma try bika fenge so ni mu nga kodo li sudo do bije nga try and se mine kenon se investment kenon kana tara nyim do ko wala mi yaron kon ka wala ke lungo min na ya bulai kamire ne man do ko ke ni your life so that in se graduate to other level might be investment in business ko sula learning kudo le kaminke anunga communicate nga new support so the ethnic aisle is there from ta sign nim feo feng mum Gambia fengoti la fitala definitely you can go there Facebook or Google ko you will find it there is a family order and there might be a more fanandin dila pour ye dali technology la because na mo jama bi ka online shopping scano and wala mo di trend tonight so it's a buluma kalango ya lon ko sa dunia kata nyami sa ko tibabudu cool kata online imagine in corona and teach one ko really you can be in your house and click and so for more said dalu ofana muskil let me ya lon ko cultural science technology la cultural because banku do van ka technological awareness ke human right let say ya ke la constitution as a human right pour technology ya access total so mbenya ko develop la ke wanwa mde few minutes tile la janimbe nala wala mu funding kelu ye land because land ala importance for ebang mini ka fumbe fuariare ne kuma walk jangan all those things dolla gunjur ma fawla water wal falo ni la grandfather wali land min tuyeje unsa 100 by 100 sabanyon katara wal bulle o mo tell them wo kodo e kamin foko mu fuari wala mu kodo fam to tell them about that ina for the long
well land la issue mbenga yele actually what's happening especially within Kumbo at the moment because I problem jamale create Gambia I badiyal kuntu I kujama ke mi alon ko dal amanyi nyanda mamdima so but that aside land mo fenne mi alon ko e ka fole ko aka appreciate le in value anene dabu kaji so it a land ambassador so coming back to coming for drum ni akra ite men sute fanto wala nyinti ko julaya wala mo itla siloda mi sakutute no wala to so wala nimbe larinje janni ba akeno nyim kuntula iko bakari ngongo ite fana ita iflomol be tata nin ko masnyo la ifna ita nin bakwe actually ko kodo nyindi bakar la bang aya invest so bakar be kodo nyi invest la nyami okay nga understand le ko Gambia be nyami do biajibe exclusion of financial exclusion or waratale to a point that having atra wokodo bebulu especially ni malom fangi ba dund la mune kunna so nka mune ke nka nyoju bele he ngamo kari ate sayga be taxi driver yalla ay bano la sam yetlan kuntu yeta ya ifana ay bano sam ko kata dundi fonkol après to itla passion fo manke woti fa somanda pour ka wuli fankata o moto borindo la fanga kakole yegul ite kodo nyi itari ko banola bano nyimbe tinyala walla yeta ya e ka fami ya siru ya di modo la mi alon ko ka burinda kana ko do wersete ya ala falimo ka wala dil so nyinul be mu area timini alon ko funding kelo especially minul be combo lan balla alla family kono ala jube albo lan ni utilize no la nyaadele amanke ko damada may be lan ni wafilale kata ka dundi financial production kunna bari wallan nim fango isa use no le for cultivation purposes bi mbe forum doto na mfawla do ma do bije aba explain kan ay investment o menke in land ntola sate to kinala I'm sure he wouldn't mind nta to fala na but I'm sure he wouldn't mind talking about this here but I munake I garino le yeleje me alonko garino nying he has people working for him akamilul fangol jo salary wokola ay musol bulaje me alonko ikela garino kaje 100% produce nying musol ta fangol talam world so e kamine kae ate asula tamen na musol nyinu bul wala mo ay yirol minul fije ka jibo ngay so all these are areas mine alon ko mol nyante jibelal so sadly again ni na hajibe ni na taw production of anake there is no market ita fo e jemale ebe o produce nyinu libe market la dam and then ni atre me market no fana there is no storage facility ebe store la dam so all fanamu area timini alonko sadly ñinul bebe mankerine andun jolle be ñanta detala ñolale nga jube benna investment ol diversify no la ñaade ni atra mo kililo da ko okay sa nte be investment o min kala mba invest la in cold storage la so mol min yalon ko ka productional ke ka perishable goods or produce ni atra lafta pour que la fengol ma bo ndela store nyin kono lokum be charge la nyin nangamuna ale agree wala that is one way of investing and that is one way of preserving products so ibaje la ko minul itla clients or minul ka cold storage you use they are preserving their commodities ete tinyala ibaje le fanal se domandin soto no la produce nyin and it mean fana investment nyinke in that cold storage ni koy ba fale sa fa ko hey na wek man guarantee jana but look we need to start looking at alternative source of energy solar bekerine invest in windmills mi alon ko ise continuous electricity generate no le yela cold storage yo nyinke maybe nde ma fe ngoso pour ka invest no wala but there are people in Gambia mi alon ko land be bulu ise me wafi no your investment sifa ke every week people will be paying them for the usage of those cold storage so mon man nyana sira ka ko man sakunda man nyinke mon nyante mirala le nte se mun ke no me atna nga man sakunda la effort supplement I'm not talking politics here because Mansakunda nitela jero to membe mbulu amantena katri. So na kumo labandula mbe jefola na yamaro membe la youth sola ngau prepare specifically. But these are areas mini alonko mo nyanta mo kunkilinal fo nyanta o jiberal. Ikana nyi mira ka foko okay stock exchange mantra Gambia nte mbe investment okay no la munato. Nte malon treasury bill katama nyari mba investment la nyari. But alternative ways jibe ibe la ko do no la damin to dami yalon ko ibe more benefits of laje so ibi nyimu areas me yalon ko ndenga mira dal mol nyanta je mira la especially me yalon ko land be bulu land nyinka appreciate le in value and is a use no le pour ka invest in those other areas ni atra e makeno directly pour itol fongol ya land nyin cultivate wala e ma wafi fana pour ka ko do nyi use ka do ndi kudo kunna then they can actually think about all these ways of utilizing that land pour investment okay la community in develop vegetable growers especially our mothers and aunties to support them in what tremendous work that they are doing in our communities.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Ceesay. Tonya, it's good to talk to specialists, about tilomi benaje and sola ulke no lenga kudol initiate noje pour finance na moli jibe sa komini ya fanko soto mo kana discorrect academy bawo nyilan fana not only ka wafu ka kuntu ka wafu ka motokoto sangana all those things is a land fana nyontalo ya rent rent lease kala for maybe 20 years 40 years more bulo kono maybe developments bank jenati ala interest so was a tribulo kono it seems kebaringol because na grandfather nene wokele moy dulat land provide moy bungo loje amari bira la profit soto ala fengo be soto agree tamin na water ta bungo tu atebulo kon hani be di bungo be rent kan so those are some of the things not only ka land kuntu ela feature ni la fengo ta but all land once you control hani doli wa fu yin dula ta yol be ta ye rent mol bulu dol ke ka garden keje maybe dol se football field o keje but it's a rent basis maybe more na ta after bila land be silo le kan I magazino loje abe kodo jola je ya di ala maybe 25 years ya vai after 25 years land ni murundinda land titala bete bulo kona sena fa hanni fata ase dingol fanan na fa bar wato wati ba kuntule ba wafula so nanta creative la lembe land use la nyami biao land no everything dunia efe offense de ka lo land neka ejida fe offense ida betara banko le koto ni ku kodi soto we after restaurant or hotel or fe wo fe lo la business or foita lo land so land pour ko cheaply ka give wonyama ba kuntula doronia kuntu yeko do bulebulu silla kunan la ko be subo sanna yeta ko di jama di busella luolo yeta subota foko do be bang o manke la yemin fo minimum tan falta wala financial education mon nyanta la yemin fo ke vanwa programme be diari bari really na technician oli bota do ko le to fanam bota do ko la we have to conclude this here so that may invite Lala again because it seems people cannot have enough of you. There are more questions coming, and they want you to answer. But really, time or tatale, for maybe the time or jibela nifrita again, say new call address again. Mbe itentulambe jaila, mbe na lamoira itentulambe jaila. This is a fantastic and timely program. me along, the youths need to take advantage of it. Not only the youths, even ourselves, because there's a lot of things that we are not talking about, but these things are hindering us. It is good, for us to come and talk about this so that we can create a lot of discussions within ourselves in our houses, so that we can know how to manage, the little money that we have. Sometimes it's not little, it's a lot of money. Like Mr. Ceesay said, we don't know how much money we create within our small household. But just because there's no communication there, there's no coordination there, we don't see the impact that much. But fantastic, Mr. Ceesay. I'm not surprised anyway. Why should I be surprised knowing what you are capable of since you are young anyway? And thank you for our listener. Thank you for the technical staffs behind the scene. My boss, Mr. Lamin Janneh, and my boss, my uncle, Mr. Dembo or Kan Dembo Janneh. Allah baraka baba ke na listeners all minanyum program on afela nane. Again, pro Mr. Ceesay kujama fanam bondi nyoto bawa I bamba masko di bomb sel jamal din na jang mi along ko is a food for thought, might be bolta le might be ethnic I'll be je yenyum fen ko to wa for mi fonga mira wobo wol den na la teme la fana wo yalo. Thank you so much. Allah baraka baba ke wo yalo. Thank you. So man be Imam Sidu Ali Sotola jang Nabe discussed because we are celebrating the Black History Month. The Musolimi Yalonko, the Prophet Muhammad Dala, minimum of finality, although former slaves, all the way, but Mobiki Lacumolifo, Ninga for the what in Arabo, living Arabo, Moiki, Kamira from Mofin Nenemantaraji, or Taradobi, Wale Famasutiata, Prophet Muhammad Lena, Kujama, Minta Bidang, Mini Tomwi. So, Soman Be, Imam Sidu Ali program also at the same time, 7 o'clock. Mr. Ceesay, thank you so much. Abaraka family, continue, yellow wife, continue for their patience, and thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
Yeah.